Hey everyone, thanks for attending my lightning talk on growing your hackathon brand using social media. A little about me, my name is Neal Goyal. I'm a technical product manager at PayPal. I also work for MLH as a coach. And lastly, I'm a content creator on LinkedIn. So all the tips I give you is actual strategies I've used myself as a creator. So, a little about my goals for this talk. First, I want to give you the value of social media marketing, and then apply it back to you as a hackathon organizer. And lastly, come up with a simple social media strategy plan that anyone can use after this talk. So, here's what I currently see right now from hackathons. 5 days to MLH Hacks, 4 days, 3 days. People typically use social media as a countdown using one or two platforms like Twitter or Instagram to build up hype for their event. But you're really at a loss for opportunity because your audience isn't usually on one platform but multiple. In fact, if I recommend you leverage all social media platforms when you're building up your audience. So for example, using Facebook for groups, LinkedIn for sponsor outreach, Instagram for stories, Twitter for polls, and even YouTube, creating like a mini video series, building up hype for your hackathon. And if you don't believe me, I can even give you some stats on your target market. Your target market of Gen Zs consume digital content the most, leveraging these platforms daily, like Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, and so on and so forth. So again, it's only your advantage that you're leveraging every single platform as you're trying to market your hackathon brand. So let's come up with a simple marketing strategy then. First, setting goals, then knowing your audience, and lastly, being consistent. So with setting goals, it's important to have some metrics before going in. First is volume. You want to assess what you currently have and what you want to reach in terms of your numbers. So your total likes, messages, fans, so on and so forth. Next is reach, understanding how far your marketing campaign is going to, and it really gives you context and support with your engagement, because your engagement is who's interacting with your posts, who's liking, and primarily who's commenting, because you don't want to have 200 likes but only 2 comments. So keeping that in track. And lastly is influence. You don't want to just have a social media account, but you want to have a social media account that has impact and is really the buzz around campus. So really tracking what's your influence as well as you're creating your social media campaigns. Next is demographics. So the nice thing is that you already did the hard part, which is understanding that you're reaching out to college students. So you can now dive a little bit deeper with figuring out what their current year is. Are they a technical or non-technical major? What's their gender if you're maybe making a gender-specific hackathon? And what's their location? Are they on campus? Are people looking from an in-state, out-state? And this really helps as you're budgeting out and creating your hackathon to really create marketing messages catered towards those different segments of people viewing your content. Lastly is consistency. Consistency is important because you don't want to have a one-off strategy with your social media, but rather consistently creating great content for your community. So some tips to do that is utilizing content calendars for scheduling your posts. So really setting a time for ideation and then maybe making, so for example, Tuesdays and Thursdays your post days. Separating your content out into series. You don't want to have spam messages as you're sharing your content. Rather, an easy way to do that is to divide your content up into series. So for example, maybe making about like hackathon workshops one time or the logistics another time. And lastly, creating templates. I found it super easy to just leverage templates as you're building out content week after week. And it really saves a lot of time. And the benefits of consistency is that, on a good day, you can really market your on-campus people, maybe like 50 to 60 people. But with social media, you can reach out to thousands. So as you're building relationships out on scale, you really want to make sure that you're consistently reaching out to them and marketing what's going on with your hackathon. And that really also helps you in the long term as well. Because if you think about your hackathon 5 to 10 years, if I look up MLH Hacks, I want to be the first 5 to 10 links to be the social media posts marketing the event or giving recaps of the event. And lastly is authority. If you think about it, there's multiple events going on in the same weekend. So I want to make sure that MLH Hacks is the people that my participants go to. The best way to do that is to be active on social media, because I know that I've seen this event week after week. I know the exact date, what's going to be happening. So I'm very, very excited and I'm loyal to your event because I've just seen it over and over again. So that really helps the consistency. Thanks for taking the time to learn about social media strategies to help build your hackathon brand. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. Thanks.